This episode of Chasing the Dollar is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet. There's no better bet than a Sportingbet.
Well, hello and welcome along to Chasing the Dollar, brought to you by Sportingbet. Ben Damon is my name, and I'm joined for a special episode of the show by Adam Pengilly, who tipped pretty well for us last week too.
Yeah, hello Ben, hello everyone. Yeah, Dainty Banquet and Gradents were pretty kind to us at Wentworth Park last Saturday night, and I hope you had a little saver on Marcus Joe like we suggested last week in the Maturity Classic final. Looking forward to these 6 heats for the New South Wales National Sprint and Distance Championship. My favourite time of the year, to be honest, and it'll be interesting to see who represents New South Wales in the national final in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, it certainly will. We have 4 heats of the sprint, 2 of the distance, so we'll get through all 6 of those races at Wentworth Park on Saturday night, and of course the quaddie is in there as well. Let's kick it off with race number 3. This is the first of the heats of the Nationals New South Wales Sprint Series. It's over the 520. It's race 3 on the program. It's probably not the strongest of the night, but there's some nice dogs there.
Yeah, I think it's a fair case you make there, Ben. Probably not the strongest heat of the night, but I think Royal Sprite's clearly the standout pick for mine. She's an outstanding greyhound on the way up, rising through the grades pretty fast, and from a suitable draw should be able to zoom towards the lead, break this field right up, and should be winning. I think the 29.68 she ran at Wentworth Park at her first look at the track gives you a fair indication of her ability, and she gets away from the dreaded box 4 on Saturday night. I don't think the price is going to be too flash, but I'm very keen on Royal Sprite. So she's easily the on-top selection. I think Watto Lotto might be able to run some sort of race from the wide alley. He's trying to get a few favours off the pink. If he can do what he did last week and carve across behind that leading division towards the rails, he's definitely not without a chance. I've included Dinkum and Not So Sweet for your wider multiples from pretty good draws, but I think they're going to be doing well to trouble Royal Sprite.
Okay, let's have a look at the second of the heats of the sprint, and we've got Zulu Zeus going around here. Has been off the track for a little while, but you're a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan, Ben. If he's anywhere near the mark, I think he should be winning on Saturday night. It's also probably not the strongest sprint heat on Saturday night. If there is one little chink in his armour, he can be a little tardy at boxer eyes on some occasions, but if you look back over his form, if it wasn't for getting flattened in the first turn, he would have made a Group 1 final last month. He got flattened on the first turn of the Peter Mossman semi. He's been off the scene since then, with not a great deal of speed drawn around him. I think he should be able to step reasonably cleanly, motor towards the lead, and then turn on the afterburners down the back straight. So Zulu Zeus goes on top. I've included resemblance for second. She could be a little bit of a smoky for mine off a wide draw. She's been extremely consistent of late, run a lot of sub-30s. If she can produce something similar on Saturday night, she's not without a hope. So resemblance goes in for second. JB Rock was very kind to us last week, although I thought we might have got a little bit of a better price. He'll punch up along the rails and will be prominent. And I've included Tricky Terry for 4th with some place claims.
Okay, let's look at race number 5 on the program. This is the third of the heats of the sprint. Now, one of your favourites, Triggsy, gets about here in a new kennel too, a classy kennel. Not in New South Wales, but what do you think? A chance of winning this race?
Yeah, he's possibly a chance, Ben. I know I've always been a big fan of Triggsy, and I did tip him on top in the Peter Mossman final. He ran a huge race, but still got beaten a fair way in 3rd. I think he just might be a little bit underdone for this series here at the moment, so I'm going to steer away from him. My top pick is Amadeus Strikes. It's hard to find a knock on her at the moment. I know she can be a little bit inconsistent at boxer eyes, but she's such a genuine chaser and she always savages the line. She's going to give you a good sight for your money no matter what race she's in. My only problem is she's probably going to starting a little bit under the odds at the moment, considering how good a former is, but I just cannot tip against her, to tell you the truth. So she's going to be my top selection, and it wouldn't surprise me to see her as New South Wales representative for the final. Going to throw Black Rip in for second. He'll definitely hold a little bit of my money on an each-way basis. He seemed to lose his way at the first turn a little bit last week, but he's got plenty of early dash, and he's a lot better when he's out in the bunny in front and left alone. I think there's not a lot of speed in this race. If he can do that, he's definitely a chance as well. I've included Fast Archer for 3rd. There's another one who'll dash down the middle of the track. And like I mentioned before, I think Triggsy might just be a little bit underdone. Throw him in for 4th, but if he does qualify for the final, he'll be much better for the run.
Well, that takes us to race number 6, and this is the race of the night at Wentworth Park on Saturday night. Let's have a look at the field. It's an absolute cracker. Zipping Willow, you'd think will go around the favourite. Where's Wob is all class. Transcend Time as well. Double Twist is in there. They're all winning chances. Where do you find the winner?
Absolutely, Ben. I'm going to play really wide in our quaddie, but I'm going to go with Where's Wob for a little bit of value. I thought he was absolutely sensational last week, even though he didn't win. To the naked eye, I thought he might have got the money. But the thing that I liked about his run last week is he kept finding and kept fighting all the way to the line. And we don't always see that from Where's Wob when he gets caught back a little bit in the field. There is a ton of speed around him. The only thing I'm pinning my hopes on is that he's a little bit more bulky than some of those lightly framed bitches who are box around him. If he can muscle his way through the first turn and get close to the bunny going down the back straight, I think he might give you a huge sight for your money. So Where's Wob's going to go on top. Zipping Willow's obviously an outstanding greyhound, won 9 from 11 from a top kennel. If she steps cleanly, she probably wins this race. My only concern is if she is a little bit of tardy, there's a lot of speed around her. She doesn't want to get hemmed on the rails. So just going to include her for second. I've got a huge wrap on Double Twist, and this is not beyond her with a slice of luck. She'll be motoring late, and I've just thrown in Transcend Time for fourth. Got a ton of ability, and he could very well win this too. Tough race, but I'm happy to play Where's Wob at a bit of value.
Well, we have 2 heats of the national distance as well for New South Wales, and let's have a look at the first of them. It is race number 7 on the program. You'd think it's probably a race in 2, this, the 4 Starliner and the 6 Set to Shine.
Yeah, they are, Ben. Easily the top 2 in this race. I'm just leaning towards Starliner on Saturday night. I thought his run last week was absolutely sensational. His first look at Wentworth Park over the staying trip. He's dead heated with Set to Shine for second, and Graydon's just nabbed the both of them on the line. I think the draw probably suits him a little bit better on Saturday night. He might not have to do as much work as Set to Shine to get towards the lead, and I think at a better price he's going to be a good bet on Saturday night, so I'm really keen on Starliner in the first of the distance heats. Set to Shine has been remarkably consistent of late, running some pretty good times. If she does manage to lead Starliner, I don't know if he'll be able to run her down, so just going to include her for second. Smart Valentino had absolutely no luck in his first up run last week, and despite being a sluggish beginner, is not without a hope. And I'm just going to include Compass for fourth, one for your wider multiples, and she seems to reserve her best for Wentworth Park.
Well, the second of the distance heats is race number 8 on the program. It's a very nice looking race too. Graydon's goes around from the outside here. You'd think we'll probably jump the favourite, but are you worried about that box draw?
Yeah, a little bit worried, Ben. He'll get a bit of room to manoeuvre. I'm just a little bit worried he might be spotting Proven Stellar too big a start on Saturday night. I know he nabbed her in the shadows of the post a fortnight ago, but I think Proven Stellar's drawn to land on the bunny here and open up a big break, and if Graydon's does find any trouble, he might have a bit of problems trying to run her down. So I'm going to play Proven Stellar at a little bit of a better price. She's been in outstanding form, so she's going to be my on-top selection. Graydon's is going to go from second. He's a bit of a heart-in-the-mouth proposition. He's got a huge motor, and so exciting to watch him weave through the field from the back of the pack. And he's won his last couple of starts in absolutely amazing fashion. Like I mentioned before, I just think he might be spotting Proven Stellar too big a start. Midnight News has been matching motors with Set to Shine of late, and that's pretty good form for this. So she goes in for third. And Bronte Anna could bring a surprise at her best, so she goes in for fourth.
Okay, well, there's our look at all 6 of the heats of the sprint and the distance. Now take us through your quaddie and your exotics. Get the best bet first.
Race 7, number 4, Starliner. Ben loved his first run at Wentworth Park last week. I think he can give them all something to chase. So I reckon he's a good betting proposition on Saturday night.
And something at some value for us.
Like we mentioned earlier, race 6, number 3, Where's Wob. It's a very hot field, but if he can muscle his way through that first turn and land on the bunny, I think he can run a huge race at odds.
And what's the quaddie?
Going with Amadeus Strikes and Black Rip in the first leg, Ben. Second leg's a tough one. Going to include Where's Wob, Zipping Willow, Double Twist and Transcend Time. In the third leg, we'll go with Starliner and Set to Shine. And in the fourth leg, we're going to include Proven Stellar, Graydon's and Midnight News.
All right. What do you think's going to win the sprint and the distance when we get back for the finals next week?
I'm keen on greyhounds to go to an easy heat, Ben, so I'm looking towards Amadeus Strikes and Royal Sprite at the moment. I think they should both easily qualify for the final. If they come up with an alley there, I think they should be huge chances. And the distance series, I don't mind Starline, to tell you the truth. Loved his run last week. I think he might be a bit of a chance to qualify as a New South Wales representative.
All right, in a bit of form at the moment, so good luck on Saturday night.
Thanks, Ben. Hopefully we can keep that going on Saturday night.
Yeah, most certainly. We'll see you next time on Chasing the Dollar.
This episode of Chasing the Dollar is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet. There's no better bet than a sporting bet.